Influence. Today I've got the lovely Penina Momoiseà joining me. I'm really excited about this interview. I know a lot of you guys will be as well. Penina is production assistant at Tikilounge Productions. She's going to tell you who that is under and everything like that, and I'm just going to hand it right over to Penina to introduce herself.
Sure, thanks Vic. My name is Penina Momoiseà, and as Victoria said before, I work for a company called Tikilounge Productions, and it's a Pacific Island owned TV production company. Some of you may remember back in the day Lisa Tauma from Tangata Pasifika. She was one of the journos reporters on there, so it's her company. And all of us who work for her or are contracted to her are all Pacific Islanders, and probably the shows you'd be most familiar with would be Fresh TV, which is like a Pacific and Māori youth show, which airs on TV2 most Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. And you might be familiar with the Coconut TV, which is like the online portal for all of our content. And yeah, so I work there on the production side.
Awesome. So Penina, tell us a little bit about your background. Were you always into that whole media, TV content sort of thing, or you just landed in a job? Tell us a little bit about that.
So back in high school, I took journalism, but I grew up in the Cook Islands because my parents were working with the missionary organisation over there, and so I did all my high schooling over there, and I did journalism in sixth form, but our journalism classes consisted of the teacher using that class as his hours to have a nap, because he used to be in a band that played at a nightclub like the night before. So he'd just send us down to the video room, and pretty much the whole year we all watched Beverly Hills 90210 every journalism class. So I don't know how I passed that year, but we all ended up with a pass. So that was like pretty much the only media interest I took when I was like back then in high school when I was a teenager. But yeah, basically because I've been with Tiki 5 years ago, and I'd been in travel for at least 14 years before that, on the marketing and wholesale product side. But on the side of what I was doing with travel, I got into photography, and also I started my own blog. That was back in like when people had their own little blogs and would write about what they were doing. and mostly with the blog, it was because I traveled with my job a lot. People would, if they were going on holiday, they'd hit me up and be like, "Oh, can you tell us like all your recommendations for what to do when you go to New York, or like the islands and places I've been?" And so I got sick of copying and pasting my answers from an email and writing them out. So I was like, oh man, why don't I just like make a blog and like chuck all my travel recommendations and tips and stuff on that, and then when people would ask me, I'll be like, oh yeah, I've written about here's a link, just that's all my recommendations over there. So I kind of started, I had started writing and doing a bit of blogging back then, just on the side of what I was doing in travel. And then I used to put some of it on Tumblr. I don't know if you're into Tumblr. It's mostly for images and stuff. And then a guy who runs like a hip hop site that I'm friends with online, he was like, dude, why are you writing, like putting your blog stuff on Tumblr? Like you're effing up my Tumblr feed. Go and make your own blog type thing. And he goes, Tumblr's for photos. So I was like, oh, true that. Okay. So yeah, that kind of got me into like making my own little blog space.
Yeah.
And then from writing about travel tips, then I kind of got into writing about people's ink stories, like when they get tatau or like tattoos and stuff and things like that. I mean, I think maybe from my photography or I don't know, maybe the blog or something, my boss had contacted me, and so I started doing a bit of photography on the side for Tiki. And then yeah, it was about 5 years ago that she was like, oh, do you feel like a change in career? And I was like, yeah. And then she offered me a job with Tikilounge. So I had literally no media experience or any kind of training like prior to that.
Wow.
Just our journalism, just my journalism sixth form class where we watched Beverly Hills 90210.
Wow, that's awesome. What year did you start the traveling blog? What year did you start traveling?
Oh man, when did I start? And I started in travel in like 2000. I was pregnant with Rocky, so like in 2001. So that was like 20 years ago. I started in travel, but it was I was doing like documentation. So you know when I don't know if they still do it now because we like everything's so online now.
Yeah.
But back in the day when people would travel, you'd get like a travel wallet and it would have your documentation, your itinerary, your vouchers for where you're staying, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I was like one of the, they called us quality control. We would like do the itineraries and print out the vouchers and stuff. And then I went on maternity leave with Rocky, came back, and then a position in marketing came up. And so I applied for that job, got the marketing assistant role. And then my boss at that time, she looked after all of North America. So yeah, she was, she wanted to expand her portfolio. She started up like a cruising division. So then she kind of gave me all of North America to look after a lot. Wow. So she'd seen me on all these trips to like the States and stuff on contracting trips and all that kind of thing. So I'd have to go over like maybe once or twice a year, and then go to what they would call contracting buying trips. And then part of that job was you had to like inspect all the hotels. Wow. And so that you knew what like they were selling, and then test out the rides, like go to Universal Studios, Disney, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So she was, her kids, I think at that age, at that stage, she was like, I don't want to travel anymore. So because my parents lived in Samoa at the time, and she would fly my mum back to babysit my kids so I could go on these work trips. Yeah, so she was really awesome, and I credit her a lot with I think she was one of the ones who kind of made me believe that there was more to working just a 9 to 5, and like just this is your job kind of thing. Because she was like, she sat me down and she was like, oh, what are your goals? Because and I was like, oh, I don't have any goals type thing. Yeah. And because at this stage, like I think I was newly separated from my husband, so I was a single mom with 2 kids and stuff. And she was like, oh, because I see you in 5 years, I see you as being the manager of like North America. And I was like, what, really? Yeah. And so I hadn't even thought about it. Like I was just thinking, oh, this is my job. And so once she told me that, then I kind of worked towards it, and then worked towards like, well, I need to learn what I needed to do to get here. Wow. Yeah, so I think for quite a while, I was like probably one of the only brown marketing managers in that travel company for a while. I think until I left. I don't think there was
anyone.
Like in our division, there was another brown person who was a manager. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I credit her a lot with I don't know, like letting me know there was more out there.
Yeah.
And giving me the opportunities to do a lot of the stuff that I did.
Yeah. That's so good, especially, you know, Pacific women, and hearing your story as well of how someone, you know, kind of opened your eyes to see something that you didn't see, that set you up.
Yeah.
Awesome. What travel company was that, sis?
So we were a wholesale travel company. So, like for the consumer, you deal with the retailers, which is like Flight Centre, Hello World, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we were the ones behind the scenes. So the retailers bought off us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if people would have heard of it. It was called Go Holidays. They're still around now.
I think
But most people would know the front stores, the retail stores. Yeah.
Wow. Tell us some of those countries that you did. What's one of the highlights of being in that season during that time? What was, apart from having someone believe in you, what are some of the interesting overseas experience you had during that time?
Oh, I think just getting to the States, I love LA, like because so many of the states are really different. So LA, San Fran, Miami was a trip. It's probably one of my favorite places to go to, and it's really diverse.
Yeah.
So that like heaps of Cubans, Haitians, that you probably wouldn't see on the West Coast. On the West Coast, it's like a different mix of people, probably more Hispanic with a lot of South Americans, Mexicans, all that kind of thing. I mean, New York, loved New York. And yeah, it was just like real eye-opening, seeing, getting to see how other people lived and all that kind of thing. I mean, while I was there, I was able to go to places like Dream Center. Have you heard of Dream Center?
Yeah.
In LA? Yeah. So and I got to meet like awesome people there. One of them, she's back here now, Sene Lima, so we're still really good friends. But at the time, she was working for Dream Center, and so I went and visited her, and then she took me out like to one of their street ministries where they were like feeding the homeless in LA and like things like that. So yeah, that all that kind of thing was really cool as well. Yeah,
love it. So Penina, after that, where did you go to next?
So after Go Holidays, there were 4 of us who got headhunted by Air New Zealand, and we they wanted us to take over, or kind of do the same roles but at Air New Zealand, because they were trying to expand their wholesale side, because usually they've only been like the flights. So they wanted to expand where they did the whole package. So there were 4 of us who went over from Go Holidays to New Zealand to head up some of that. I mean, that's when they wanted me to take on, and I think it was because I'm a Pacific Islander, they wanted me to take on the Pacific Islands as well. So then I looked after Pacific Islands and North America as a destination, and that was really cool because I'd been to a lot of them before, through like when I was younger with my parents and stuff, but then it was like a different experience going back for work, and from the tourist side type thing. So got to like Tahiti, Bora Bora, which is in Tahiti, but where else did I get to go to? Fiji. I hadn't been to Fiji before. So that was real cool, and just making connections and stuff with people there as well. Yeah.
Wow. All this while you were still a mother, still with the 2 kids?
Yes. So I think it was maybe, when did mum and dad move back? Maybe 2007. They moved back. So then so then my boss wasn't having to pay them pay for mum to come back over all the time. Yeah.
Wow.
And then when Jaira, my oldest son, got to about 15, my incentive to him to get a license was, when I need to go away for like trips, if you know how to drive, then you can drive your brother to school. You don't need to you don't need to take the bus. So yeah, there was like incentives like that for the kids in it as well.
Yeah. Now, your job now, you're still doing a lot more traveling as well. Tell us about that.
So when I started, we ended up going to Samoa and doing I think it was like stuff for Fresh. So we shot the Te Wheeler Festival there, and then what else? I know that we've done a couple of the company, not myself. They've done a couple of docos, like you can find them on the Coconut. The 1918 one about the Spanish flu epidemic that hit Samoa.
Oh yes.
So there's been a few docos that we've been over to do there, and then I did a photo. It was like a photo gallery one. It was called Churches of Samoa. If you look that up. So we went around doing that, and then more recently we just got back from the Cooks because it was like the only island that we could go to shoot. Yeah. And we actually got stuck there for a bit because I think it was like we'd been there for a couple of days and then Auckland went into lockdown.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, might as well just stay there and like shoot as much as we can while we're there.
Yeah. I find it really intriguing reading a lot of the content on Coconut. It's really so good, especially for us second-born generation in New Zealand who don't know our roots really well. One of the ones that really inspired me to start this platform was Daughter of Migration. I don't know if you heard that one.
Yeah.
It's just so inspiring and so heartfelt, the stories. They're really relatable and they're real easy to read. If you haven't read any of those stories, go on there and read them because, man, some of the women there on those stories is really amazing. Tell me, Penina, when you are writing content, what comes to mind? How do you does it come natural for you to write content? Because I know a lot of our people, we struggle with the writing, we struggle with comprehension. And how does your content come up for you? Where do you get your ideas from? And how do you know which angle to come with in your stories? I do most of the stuff that I probably do is like covering the sports, like if there's a sports thing or an event and things like that. And then the writing's not too hard. I find like if I was told to do an opinion piece or something, I'll be like, oh mate, I don't know. I have an opinion, but I don't know how to put it. But at the moment we're actually getting journalism training. My boss was able to get because there was some funding that was available for proper journo training, so we're actually going through that at the moment. So with the events and sports stuff, that's not too hard for me. I don't find it too hard to do. And the other ones I've done that I find easier because it's more like a Q&A type thing are the Women of the Islands or the Humans of the Islands pieces. And those are pretty easy because you just kind of have to like come up with the questions
send them to whoever you want to feature, and then they come back with their answers type thing.
Yeah. Wow. So what would you say for somebody who's looking into, you know, getting a career in what you're doing now? What would be some of your tips? What would be something that you would say, go and study this, this, and this, because it will really help get into this sort of like line of work? What would be your recommendations, or your, just a heads up if you want to get into this industry sort of thing?
Probably the I think the most recognized course to do would be a Bachelor of Communications, and so that covers off. So once you do communications, then I think you do like the intro for maybe the first semester, and then you have to choose what you want to major in. So then you can major in like TV, radio, print media, I think public relations, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that would be the ideal way to get to get into TV.
Yeah.
To get into TV. Yeah. That'd be the ideal way to get in. Would be Bachelor of Communications, or I know my niece did. She went to South Seas, which is I think they're predominantly film.
Oh, yeah.
So she learned all the like the production side of it at South Seas, and then I know there was a game show we did called Game of Bros, which used to come on Māori TV, and we got a bunch of the South Seas students to help us, like they did work experience and then with us there. So it's a way to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
That way as well. Yeah.
Good stuff. Tell me, with lockdown, are you limited, because your work entails a lot of travel? When we do, I mean, with COVID, when that hit, did it affect much on what you're doing as a production assistant?
Not too much. I've actually been really busy during, and the last lockdown too, we were super busy as well.
Yeah.
And that's because we've also been helping out with the messaging for our Pacific community in terms of encouraging them to stay at home. You don't need to go to church. And you don't need to, you could have a conversation via Zoom. Don't go and meet for cover. Stay at home. Yeah, just the more specific stuff we need to do for our Pacific community and and also like giving them like being able to communicate with them where to find help if they're struggling with like needs, food, where to find the translations, all that kind of thing. Yeah. So and then last lockdown we also got commissioned to do specific lockdown content. So we're just really busy getting a lot of that up and out, like getting it out to the community as well.
There's not many of you in that team, is there? How many of you in your team all are? Including and all that.
Full-time there's probably 6 or 7 of us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of you, yeah.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what you cover, does it have to come from, is there a source that it comes from, or is it just your production team, you come up with ideas first thing in the week, or how do you know what you want to cover and what is good to cover, you know, besides the obvious COVID and stuff like that?
For a lot of the content that I try to find on for Coconut, it'll just be like scrolling through social media. I find Twitter really good in terms of for news, like news stories, and then did a story yesterday on a guy called Samson Moyakiola, and he just got a part in The Sopranos.
Oh wow!
It's like the prequel film. Yeah, and he's a Tongan kid. So, and I just happened to come across him because a girl that I'm friends with on Instagram, she had shared like a congrats post to him, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? So like I looked him up, and then there was interviews with him and things like that. So then I was just able to craft a story from watching YouTube videos on.
Oh wow!
from other interviews on him.
Yeah.
I mean, using some of his own posts and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of it is just seeing what's trending.
Yeah.
What's trending and whether it relates to Pacific Islanders, and then finding inspiring Islander type stories like Samson's story. Yeah, because it was literally his first film gig.
Wow.
And he landed the part. Yeah.
Wow, that's talent.
Yeah.
The sort of thing that you bring into Fresh, yeah?
Yeah. So with Fresh, we also do that, like just looking for kids who, Pacific Islanders and Māori kids who, for this season, we had a segment called Young, Gifted and Brown, and it focused more on the youth and that weren't so well known. They were kind of like on the rise. Yeah. And following their like a day in the life type journey of what they were doing. Yeah. So it's cool discovering those kind of kids in that as well.
Yeah. Do you get a time frame on how long you have to work on a story? Or is it just whenever you're done with it, it's out there?
For Fresh, they have like certain deadlines of when they need to deliver stuff for TV and that.
Yeah.
So they definitely work to like deadlines on when they need to deliver, especially like episodes and like segments that go into that episode and things like that.
Yeah.
For myself, if I know that none of the other island media places have got it, then it's just like I need to do this real fast so we can be the first type thing. Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good. Do you get a lot of critics in what you do? Do you get people going, that's not right, that story is should be? Do you get a lot of that, or do you get people that don't want to be interviewed or don't want you to research into? Do you get any of that?
It hasn't been too bad. Like unless there have been a couple of times where we've got things like completely wrong, and then I found the best way is just to be like, sorry, we got that wrong, and we've corrected that type thing. Because social media they'll be quick to let you know if you get it wrong. If you get it wrong as well. And then, oh man, yesterday I was having to deal with, because the Vanuatu, this will probably be random, but the Vanuatu Prime Minister had, because I think they're all at this, it's like the climate change thing up in New York at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And the Vanuatu Prime Minister called out the United Nations because they hadn't done anything about Indonesia being in West Papua.
Ooh.
And yeah, so then we got all these, like, I don't know if they were Indonesian bots, but we had posted this thing on the Olympics, and it was just because the Vanuatuan flag holder was in that particular post. And we got all these bots like attacking the post, saying, oh, Vanuatu, like all these like swearing and stuff. Vanuatu is a kaka country, and like F Vanuatu.
Oh,
so I was like, oh, excuse me. Yeah. So I had to like spend most of last night deleting all the comments and that. And then I was telling one of my colleagues about it this morning. And she was like, oh yeah, that she checked the Vanuatu tourism page, and I think Air Vanuatu, they had the same thing. There was just all these like Indonesian haters hating on them for, and then it would have been just because the Vanuatu Prime Minister had spoken out about Indonesia still being in West Papua.
Yeah.
So there's trolls like that, and then there's then there's a lot of the conspiracy theory, anti-vax community. Yeah.
Your favorite seat.
Yeah. But it's not too bad unless we get something really wrong. Then yeah, they'll let us know.
Yeah. No, that's
yeah.
Nina, what are the characteristics, or as a person what do you think are the characteristics you need to have to get into journalism or to get into media productions? Like, obviously, do you need to be an extrovert to be in that sort of role, or an introvert? What would you say? Or have an interest in nations sort of thing? Pacific.
I don't think you need to like, if you're an introvert and you were worried about needing to be an extrovert to be in journalism, I don't think you'd need to worry about that unless you are wanting to be in front of the camera, or go into acting or that side of things. But yeah, because on the production side you could easily just stay in the background, do like behind the scenes, like most of us do. We're all behind the scenes. Yeah.
Nice. So just a couple of last questions for you. The first one is, where to from here for you? What's your ultimate vision? Do you see yourself in there much longer, or you want to go do something bigger overseas? 5-year plan from now, or a long-term goal?
Yeah, probably. I think I've just been really excited about getting this actual journalism training because I never got it in sixth form, and because for myself I never went to uni. Like most of my work colleagues, they all went through uni or did like South Seas or went through film school or something similar. So I've literally just been learning on the go. So this journalism training, I've been, and I still am excited about, because we just started it last week. I think that, I mean now that I've got a foot in the door, it's I think for myself, just like learning, to continue learning the different aspects of it. So even if I did want to branch into that, to do it. But yeah, I would love to work my way into making a doco someday. I have. What about? I'm not sure yet. Like, it hasn't come to me. But but that'd be a long-term goal.
Nice.
Nice.
We're definitely gonna follow you up on that. And then the last one is, what would be sorry, before I get to the last question, who were your mentors growing up? Who did you look up to? Because I'm really blown away at the fact that you're where you're at now, not because of a degree or a qualification, but just a lot of hard work. I mean, using your creative side, that is a biggie, especially for my audience, because a lot of people will think, oh, I'm not qualified, I can't do that sort of thing. But you don't need to be, and you're getting qualified on the job, which is really awesome. And not only that, you did it all while you were you had the kids. So who were your mentors growing up, and who really inspired you? You've already mentioned one of them. With my boss, she was awesome. I think the hard work ethic, and just like knowing that maybe you don't know how to do things, but just get on and work hard and learn as you go. That probably came from my parents, because both of them are really hardworking in everything that they've done. And then because we grew up in the islands, and when we moved back to New Zealand when I was maybe 18, and my dad didn't have a university education or anything too, but he wasn't ashamed to go work at Georgie Pie, because that was the only job he could do. So I think seeing that, and then also seeing him then go and get training to become a real estate agent at his age, that was pretty cool too. And then
yeah, and then my boss now, the same thing. She's like a woman. My first boss was Palangi, but my boss now is Pacific Island, and yeah, she's been the same way, like really just championing all of us who work for her.
Wow.
The same way, like you can do it. And the other thing is both of them, my boss before and my boss now, they have been really hardworking too. Like she works her ass off for us as well, so that we can get funded to have work.
Yeah.
To be able to get So yeah, both of them. But growing up, it was probably, I don't know. Like I know that after I had my kids, my siblings really inspired me as well. And they're all younger than me because I'm the eldest. So yeah, I know my and me and my sister Leilani, she does the same role as me, but for Radio New Zealand.
Yeah.
So we're always like chatting and comparing notes and stuff too. So yeah, that's been cool to have a family person in the media industry. Yeah. Oh, I mean, just like if people are looking at getting into the media side of things, we've also got a Pacific Woman in Media support group. And so yeah, so it's because a lot of the Pacific women that are in media work for mainstream, so they don't have the same support as what I would do, where I work with all islanders type thing.
Yeah. Wow.
So then one of, and so it's actually Indira Stewart, who's on Breakfast on One.
Yes.
Yeah, so her and a couple of other girls decided to start this group. So it's like a Pacific Women in like support group for Pacific women in media.
So
so we catch up every now and then, like, yeah. So yeah, we catch up every now and then, and then they'll like meet and share their stories, and then it's like and then we have like a group chat, and if someone does something cool, then we'll all be like, yo, that was really good, like how cool, and we'll all share each other's articles and things like that. So yeah, in case there's Pacific women out there who might be like it doesn't seem like a Pacific friendly industry. Yeah, there is support groups in there.
Wow. How do we is there a Facebook page or something the women can go to get into that support?
Oh, if you're in the media industry currently, then yeah, just drop us a line and then we can add you to the group.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
There you go, ladies. That's really good. I'm interested to know what were the comments flickering through that chat group after Indira interviewed.
I know, that was awesome. That was so good.
It was amazing. I was like, I let him caught. No, that was good. Thanks so much, Penina. My last question is, I'm just going to leave it to you. Just words of encouragement. You probably have already said it. Any last quotes or to encourage not only our young people but also mums out there that I love what you said about the 9 to 5, because a lot of, especially in Hawke's Bay, you know this area really well. This is where you were born and raised. Oh, I don't know. No, you weren't born and raised here. You were here for a season. Sorry. We do the.
I was born there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they do the 9 to 5. But I love what you said, that somebody showed you that there's more to life than the 9 to 5. So yeah, I'm just going to leave you to give us the last words of wisdom, or even encourage our young people out there who want to get into media, because obviously it's the thing, you know.
I'd probably say just if you're looking to get into media, then so the guy who told me to start like stop effing up his Tumblr feed and start my own blog. He's like an editor for it used to be like a hip hop site, and so he was saying that if you're wanting to write and improve your writing, like say if you're wanting to get into writing, then read articles, and because I've never had training, that's what I've done a lot too. Like if I've had to put together like a sports story or a story on an event, then I'll go read like sports stories just to see how they format it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I always found like that was a helpful tip for me. Just he was like, you just got to read articles, read everything, just read. Yeah, I mean that'll help you with your writing, your vocabulary too, because if you don't know a word, go look it up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I think also just be mindful of the connections you make, like be good to them. Don't be a dick to people you don't be a dick to people you meet in the street, like, because you might need to interview them one day or like write a story about them. But yeah, it's also just really good to have good connections. And I found that in with my job in the travel industry too, like a lot of it was just having good relationships and making good connections with the people you meet on when you're having to do business with them as well. Yeah, so and one of my friends quotes that he told me that I always stick to as well is like, don't be a dick, and if you're a dick, don't be a dick all your life.
Right to the point.
And yeah, on the 9 to 5 thing, for me it's always been like, because both my bosses were women and they let me work around the kids as well. So when I was working at Go Holidays, my boss there was like, she let me do 9 a.m. to 2 so that I could go and pick the kids up from school, take them home, get them done and stuff. And then I'll just make up the hours in my own time. But as long as I finished the work, then she trusted me to do that. Yeah. So yeah, I think as long as you work hard and you're not, and you're doing your work and getting things in on time, then I think that'll give you the leverage where your boss will trust you to be able to do what you need to do to look after your family or your kids or whatever. Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Being faithful in the little.
Yeah, that's what comes to mind, eh? Before we go, just show us a little bit of a day in your life being a production assistant for Tikilounge. What will your normal everyday life look like? It was probably different day to day, but...
I'll take you through my day today. So my day today was waking up and because last night was the Delhi NRL Awards.
Oh yeah.
And there were a few of the Pasifika boys made the team of the year. So the night before, I scheduled a post that'd pop up on Facebook to be like, oh, congrats to these guys. So then I put their photos on Instagram to be like, congrats to these guys. And then I think it was Brian Toto's girlfriend, she had a beautiful dress made out of siapo. And so just gave like a shout out to the designer who was also Samoan.
Yeah.
And then it was because it's also Tuvalu Language Week.
Yes.
So just finding something for Tuvalu Language Week and then sharing that on our social media. So we do Instagram, Twitter, and also Facebook. And then
I just interrupt. You guys do TikTok?
Yes. Oh, we do TikTok. We do TikTok.
Okay.
But I was like, I am not getting on TikTok. So my boss contracts my niece to look after our TikTok page.
Yeah, because it's quite a young person sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would want to see what I put on TikTok. Like, yeah, she's way better. She's way better at TikTok. So we do have a TikTok as well, and we have a lot of our content on there too. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, just getting all the stuff out for our community, what we think would be important for our community out of the 1 p.m. press updates for COVID. Yeah. And then I got a story ready. There's a lady. It's also Mental Health Awareness Week this week as well.
A lot of things.
Yeah. So this is all stuff that keeps us busy. Just like knowing when all the Pacific Island Language Weeks are, knowing when things like this, the Mental Health Awareness Week is. So there was a guest writer who sent us something for that. So I was just getting that ready to put on the site. And then I saw that Mark Hunt, his case against the USCs. So it's like also looking at topical things that the Pacific Island community might be interested in as well. So just did a little thing on that, and then looking to prepare stuff for tomorrow as well.
Wow.
And then getting back to emails and other people often pitch stories that or like things that they want to share as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. So it's a lot of variety. I mean, when we're in the office and maybe when we're like shooting for Fresh and that, we might be out of the office.
Yeah.
And they'll need me to do like behind the scenes photos and stills and things like that. Yeah, so it's quite a good variety of what we do. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so good. Oh man, it's like a background look into what you do, especially for our people, which a lot of us are passionate about and will go above and beyond for. That's really cool. Thanks so much, Penina, for today. We really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy, and so I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to have a chat to us. Penina's really given us a good interview today with what you can look into, what you need to do if you want to get into this line of work. And hopefully we'll do a follow-up interview with you when you hit the big screen, Penina. Where you Doco as well. Yeah, so thank you so much, Penina. I appreciate your time today.
No worries.